Friday night, and I'm here. It's time for Around the Table. And I am your coach, Vision Coach Alicia. And every Friday night, we come and we sit around the table. I hope you have something to drink tonight. I do. Go grab yourself something cold, something hot, whichever you choose, and come on and sit around the table with me. I look forward to Friday nights because it's a time that I get to know people better. This is a place where coaches, experts, business people, authors come and sit. And we always welcome you to come and join us. And tonight, I am especially excited. You know, I can get excited very easily over a lot of things. But tonight, I'm excited because I have someone very special that's coming on and sit around the table with me. And so I want you to get ready because I am going to bring her up and bring her on the stage and introduce to you no other than my friend and sister, Dr. Joe. Hi, Dr. Joe.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you tonight?
Let me tell you, I am blessed yet fabulous.
You look fabulous. Great. And
Yeah.
welcome to Around the Table. Guess what? For the second time. Thank you so much for coming back and sitting in the seat. I'm especially excited tonight because I know what we're going to talk about. But before we do, just let the listening audience know a little bit about who Dr. Joe is.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Apostle Alicia Joy, for inviting me to your platform. I am so blessed to be here. I am Dr. Josephine Harris. You may call me Dr. Joe. I am the founder of Common Minds LLC and also the president of the Herpreneur Network. Yes, I said it, the president of the Herpreneur Network. I am also the mental health professional that will snatch and get your mental health together. Yes, that's me. I am also an author, a best-selling author, international author. I am also an international psychologist as well, where I counsel foreigners like Japan, Korea, Thailand, China. It's very rare that you find a therapist that knows different languages. That's me. Yes. That's
That
all
is
about
interesting.
me.
Dr. Joe, I did not realize that. So I'm going to jump in there right there for a few minutes. So you speak those languages? You don't go through an interpreter?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I can understand what they're saying, and most of them really I coach and I teach them English. So they're trying to
Okay.
I teach them in the professional world. So they are
Okay.
professionals who want to learn English and speak English as well. So I also counsel them as well. So I counsel teenagers, foreigner teenagers, and up to the age of 35. But I also teach in the professional world within the foreigner international connections. So I teach them how to speak English so that when they go out and present themselves in a more professional way, that's what I do. I teach them.
You know what? That is so awesome because, and I'm going to just regress for a while and then come back because
Yes,
about
ma'am.
9 years ago, I had one of the best experiences of my life. When I was living in California, I took in an exchange student from Spain. His name was Angel. I had him for 30 days, and that was one of the best times of my life, really extending that. He wanted to learn English better. He came to my house, and believe it or not, my son is 43, and up to this day, my son and him have a relationship. He doesn't even talk to me, but him and my son have remained friends all this year. So that is great. And again, one of the things about the network that we both belong to, the Herpreneur Network, it is international. So we do that type of international thing. Because right now, I am becoming very hot in the Caribbean.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
So that's great. That's great. Well, let's get down to business tonight. Um, I noticed that you had a new workbook out, and the name of it was Overcome Anxiety Overcomer. Am I
Yes,
correct?
yes, ma'am.
Anxiety Overcomer. And I thought that that was so interesting, and that's why I wanted to invite you back again. And I'm glad that you said yes and that you are here. So let's talk about anxiety first, for before we go into the other part. What, as a mental health expert, because I take you way beyond coaching. You are a mental health expert. So, as an mental health expert, how do you define anxiety in that arena?
Well, in that arena, anxiety is when your body reacts to stress, and it can occur even if you don't have the current threat. So anxiety, where your body would react to stress, like tension, like headaches, like general stress that you go through. So you have, sometimes you might have a little panic attacks, like you can't breathe, or difficult breathing, or difficult coping with the stress that you have in your life. So sometimes you get so anxious that your heart start palpitating. So that's a sign of anxiety. Sometimes you don't know what to say, because they have different forms of anxiety. They have generalized anxiety. They have seasonal anxiety. They have social anxiety. So it all
Wow.
depends on what kind of anxiety do you have.
Okay. And this is something that you actually define in your in what you do. Like, if I came to you and I'm having a session and I'm thought you could actually help define what type of anxiety I'm dealing with.
Yes, man, they have different symptoms. So different symptoms can be categorized in general anxiety, which is gay, and they have social anxiety, which is you are afraid to go around people in a social setting. You don't know what to say. You freezes up. You go through
My,
panic attacks, or you will freeze up and you don't know what to say, or you will say something that really doesn't equip with the social network.
that is so good and so interesting. You know, I heard you on our other broadcast, and one of the things that you were talking about that really grasped my attention, you were talking about, I think it was mental health boundaries. Am I
Mental health
correct?
boundaries. Yes, ma'am. You got to have those mental health boundaries, because guess what? If you don't have those mental health boundaries, people will start to drain. You will feel like drained. You will feel mentally drained. So when I say mental health boundary, you got to have those boundaries crossing your mental health. Like, think of it like this: you're going through a lot of stress. You don't know how to manage that stress. You feeling like you overwhelmed. You feeling like you have headaches. You feeling like your heart about to pop out the chest. You feeling so much muscle tension. Your muscles start hurting. Your fingers start hurting. That's what I mean when it comes to that, because our body reacts to a lot of stress. Sometimes it can be good stress, sometimes it can be bad stress. But you don't want your body to react to bad stress. That's when it's
Okay.
toll on your physical and mental health.
You said good stress. What is good stress?
You can have good stress. Good stress is like, say for instance, a surprise birthday party.
Oh, okay. Light bulb moment. Okay,
Yes,
I get it. Wow.
you get a
Okay.
surprise gift from Christmas or something.
Yes. Wow. Oh man, this is so good because I just never looked at it like that. This is good. Let me ask you something. I've had this question all day, and I said I'm going to ask you, and I want to ask it correctly. How do you define the difference of, I guess it's mental health, but let me just ask it and you can help me break it up. When we look at someone and we're saying that they are a mental health patient,
Hmm.
how is that in relationship to someone that you says have bipolar disease?
Mental health illness is mental health illness, whether it's bipolar, whether it's schizophrenic, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, whether it's social anxiety. Mental health, all that falls under mental illness.
Okay. Okay. So bipolar is a form of a mental health disorder.
Bipolar is a form of mental illness disorder. Mental health,
Mental illness.
yes.
Okay.
So mental illness is a disorder. Mental health is a health issue. So people, it
Oh,
intertwines together, but it's a difference. Mental health is a disorder. It,
yes.
mental illness is a
Illness.
mental health is dealing with our physical, our emotional, our psychological well-being.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Now, all day I've been trying to figure out that question, and I said I'm going to ask her tonight because I want to have clarity. Now, I absolutely do. So let's go back to your journal that you were. Is it a journal or a workbook?
It is a workbook journal. So you
It's a
can do,
workbook journal because
yes,
you want
ma'am.
people to be able to actually work in this book,
Yes, ma'am.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the title is Anxiety Overcomer. So we define what anxiety is all about. So now, why is it called an Anxiety Overcomer workbook?
So the reason why it's called this is because most people don't know that I suffer from anxiety, and I had suffered from anxiety, and I had anxiety in the past. So I developed this, and I think Sonya Pepper Sam, she helped me with it. Kudos to her. That's my girl. So I developed this as towards what I have overcame, what tools that I had used. How did I use those tools? And when did I use those tools? And I kept up with the days that I felt weak and the days that I felt strong, the days that my anxiety was high and the days that my anxiety was low. So that's how I developed the whole book. Then I had developed a crisis plan for myself because with anxiety, and people don't understand mental health and mental illness, it comes with understanding what crisis that you come upon. Sometimes you have a crisis and people don't understand that. So if you have a crisis plan and you make people aware of what you need and what they can do to help you, then that'll help you as a person and that person as well.
Wow. So you're saying just the same way a person with sickle cell goes through a sickle cell crisis, those people that have anxiety also experience an anxiety crisis.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Joe, you're giving me light bulb moments tonight. Listen, everyone, you are here sitting at around the table. I am your host, Vision Coach Alicia, and this evening my guest is Dr. Josephine Harris, but you can call her Dr. Joe, and we are discussing her new workbook that is called Anxiety Overcomer. She just explained to us that she has had anxiety, which gives her now the credibility, and she now have the receipts that she is an overcomer. So let's talk a little bit, Dr. Joe, about being an overcomer.
Yes, ma'am. Let me tell you, I had overcome a lot of things. And what causes anxiety? Sometimes you can have trauma, which causes anxiety. Sometimes you can have grief. And with me, I'm going to be transparent from my perspective, from myself. I went through a lot of grieving in my lifetime. And because I'm a veteran of a military spouse, and we travel a lot. So different eras, you grieve different eras. I grieve jobs, I grieve loved ones, I grieve when the time when I was so down that with me, and you grieve totally different. With me, I used to grieve in education. So I constantly went to school I stayed in school, and that's how I grieve. Didn't give myself enough time to grieve, which causes me to have anxiety. And I don't know if everybody know, and I always talk about I have ADHD. So think of it all as that form, and you have all this grief and you have all this anxiety, and plus you have symptoms of ADHD, and you're going through all these emotions, and which causes you to have panic attacks. So when I learned how to navigate through certain revenues of my life, and I got a therapist, I got a coach, I got an ADHD coach, I got a grieving coach, and I have my pastor, my first lady. So they helped me to navigate through different challenges in my life, dealing with this form of mental health issue, dealing with this form of anxiety. So that's what brought me to write this book. That's what brought me to have that vision. And ooh, I love Sonya Pepper Sam. She flourished that vision into this book for me. So that how I became anxiety overcomers. But overcome it means you overcame a lot. I mean, when you overcome certain revenues in your life, you can move forward.
Yes.
You can
Yes.
talk about it without
Yes.
crying. You can
Yes.
put your story out there. You can say, "Oh, I overcame this. This is what I did to overcome it. Here are some strategies that work for me. It might work for you."
Yes. Great. So do you have the book sitting there with you?
I do. It's
Would
ready.
you pick it up so we can take a look at it? Oh, that is really very
Yes,
nice.
ma'am. Look,
Yeah. Looks like it's a lot of information in there.
it is. It
Yes.
is.
So tell us a little bit about what when we first open the book, what we're gonna find.
When you first open the book, you're gonna find this lovely, gorgeous lady right here. That's me.
Okay.
That's
That's a
me.
that's a good find. That's a good find. Yeah, because I just want to understand. A lot of times I've done books myself, and I've done workbooks, and I often wonder when a person, my mind is when they open this book, the first thing, what is it that I am really trying to convey so that they will go through the entire book. So that's why I asked you, what is the first thing that you say in there? Well, beautiful. So let's say, what's on the second page of the book?
The second page is telling you the 30-day workbook journey belongs to you. So you're gonna write your name in it. Did it give you words, scripture? You can write a scripture, encouraging word to yourself. But I also have words that affirmational words. It say, "I am bold. I am smart. I am
Okay.
loved. I am blessed. I am favored. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am beautiful. I am important, and most important, I am successful."
Awesome. So this book helps you to understand why you're an overcomer.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, um, those of us that are believers know that there is nothing that we cannot do without our heavenly Father. And if we're going to relate to scriptures, and scriptures is going to speak back to us, it's going to fill us. Right now, in our network that we both are a part of, we have a topic this week that is called about going through burnout. And a lot of times people go through burnout because they're not in relationship with the word of God and what the word of God says about them. And I'm laughing though, because I was just telling you a little story before we came on about myself. But sometimes what happens is we don't recognize what we're going through. So in your book, what is the type of person that will actually need your book and want to purchase your book?
Let me tell you, it's been selling like hotcakes. I'm putting that there. It's been selling like hotcakes. My vendor who's been making them, I mean, she's constantly making them, but it's been selling like hotcakes. But to a person, it's a woman. My vision is for women of all culture. Mostly it really my journey of being a military spouse. So going through the military spouses, going through the journey that you go through as a military spouse, and you feel alone. And they really don't cater to military spouses like they do the social members. It's like we left behind. So when we leave behind, we are left behind. Our anxiety kicks in so bad. So this book is to help women of that nature, women of that population, women of all ages from the 18 to 55-year-old. Because let me tell you, I had this book and I did not know she was talking about me, and she just started talking about me. I just brought a book and it called Anxiety Overcomers, and she talking about you that doctor that wrote that book. I said, yes, ma'am, I did.
Wow, that is so awesome. And so what I'm hearing is your heart is for women who have and I'm not saying that the book is directly only towards them, but your heart is for women who have been military spouses, who have had to deal with a lot of things alone and in their own by themselves, and not having a resource. That this is one of the ways that you're providing a resource to those women. So are you marketing this book specifically also to those women?
You know what, Apostle, that is correct. I do market to mostly them, and it's been really, really high ends to them. I am getting ready to I'm getting ready to develop a course for it.
Oh,
So I'm getting ready to develop a course to teach you how to use it. And
okay.
my population who I gear to, I coach military spouses. If you never know me, I always talk about military spouses, how they is.
Yes, yes, yes.
So my coaching business is towards military spouses,
That's
women.
your target market. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So
Okay.
I've been coaching 2 or 3 women now, and they loving it. They at first they were stay-at-home moms, they were stay-at-home bodies, they didn't know what direction it was going into. Now one of them is a pharmacy technician, one of them is a nurse, one of them is going to school to be a lawyer. So yes, I am so thrilled that that's my job, and I love it. I'm passionate about it.
Yes, I love that because you are familiar with a book that I wrote called Healing from Emotional Enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And that book, the door was open for me many years ago where I would go into the prisons. And that's where the target market was for that book for me, the prisons. But um you know, the prisons is hard to do business with. So after a while it got a little, but when you know who needs you and who you're called to, and you provide what they need, that's why it's selling like hotcakes, because you are selling it to the right target market. And that's why in business and as coaches, we have to know exactly who and what we're doing. You know, recently I made a shift. I'm a vision coach, and when I sit down with someone for 30 minutes, I know exactly, because the Spirit of God comes in and He shows me exactly the vision for that person, how I should take them through it. I discuss it with them, and 99% of the time it clicks. But I had to look at how I was doing the business,
Mm-hmm.
because at first, and now that I hear it, we are talking about burnt out. I was getting burnt out
Mm-hmm.
because I was doing everything for them as a coach. And then I mentally changed my mind. I said, I'm their coach, I'm not their doer. And right away, I did 2 things. And it was considered crazy, but it changed the face of my business because I was having anxiety. I was having burnout. I didn't, you know, I was starting to forget sometimes the times of my clients and different things like that, because I was anxious about getting on with certain people because I didn't have certain. But what I did was I made one major tweak. First of all, I raised my prices. That was
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I did. And the second thing I did was I said, I am their coach, and they are to do what I'm coaching them to do, not for me to do it for them. And the third thing I did was I put a other entity to my program and added a other $1,000 to that. If I am going to do the work for you, this is the new price. You know,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
we have to know in business who we're targeting to. I was afraid at first to sell my journal for what I thought it was worth, because I was like, oh gosh. As soon as I made up my mind, my journal was not a $9.99 journal, but a $39 journal. I started selling the journal. And so, because the information that you have in that book, oh my
Yes,
goodness.
ma'am. And this journal right here is $49.99. So, like Dr. Nikki said, my price is my
It's
price.
my price. Yes.
But it is selling like hotcakes. I'm getting ready to. I also go to my vendor. She got to do some more. So I'm really selling selling
Yes.
it.
I
But
am
I'm not changing my
excited. Yeah,
price.
I'm excited that you're getting ready to develop a course. And that's the thing too that, you know, happened for me today. You know, we were having this Dr. Nikki put together a conference for us. Those of you that do not know about the Herpreneur Network, it is a network of Christian women in business founded by Dr. Nikki Ziegler. And within this network, we are growing. We do so many things. We've learned so many things within our businesses. And this week, she has allowed us to have what is called her fourth quarter. It's a conference, and there were so many experts that came on there that I caught the ones that I could, and then I have been listening to replays. The one person, Dr. Adu, that talked about the courses, she really opened up my eyes that I need to build a course. And so that is in my, now I wrote it in my 2024 plans that I am going to build a course, because it's so important that when we understand who we are, what we're doing in business, that we could produce the right things for our client. This book that you just produced, Anxiety Overcomer, is perfect timing so that they do not go into the new year with that same type of anxiety, but they have a resource. Listen, you are worth $49. You need to get it. And after you've gone through it, if you don't understand, call Dr. Joe. You may need to be one of her clients. When we have information, it helps us to go to the, you know how many people could be in a much better place or healed through your material. That's why we can't be afraid to put out the material out there. So Dr. Joe, let me just ask you this. What is it that you want a person who has that book in their hands to do? Is it a book that you want to be self-sufficient for them, or is it a book that they need you to come into play with them to make it make sense?
Let me tell you, this book right here can be both. But the end game is for you to be self-sufficient on your own.
Okay.
So I teaches you how, when I'm developing a course, I'm going to teach them how to work through it page by page, and how to understand the difference between anxiety and stress.
Ooh, that's good. Don't give the whole bag away now.
I'm not giving everything away, but you have to get this book.
Get the book, Anxiety, the difference between anxiety and stress.
Yes,
wow.
And some people think it's the same, but it's not. You can tell of a stress attack, or you can tell of a panic attack, which come with anxiety.
Whew. You know, that is so awesome. That's just like, you know, I had been talking about, and Dr. Nikki asked one of the guests, Dr. Stewart, the same question. What is the difference between push and press? And that's something that I've been really talking about. We have to stop being confused about these things so that we know the difference. Now, in talking to you just a few minutes before we came on, I realized that mine was not anxiety. I was really a little stressed. That's what I was dealing with on Tuesday, when I just said, I'm shutting everything down and I'm watching television. And that's what I did. I was dealing with some stress. But in order to deal with stress, we have to have materials such as you have. In order to deal with anxiety, we have to equip ourselves with what we need to make us feel better. Watching television is not going to completely cure my stress. I need to have some tools that I can refer to. And so that's why it's so important that when we have the material, that we get it out, that people know it's there, that they know it exists, and they know how to get it. So that's what I would like you to tell the people. How do they get a hold of you? We already understand it's $49. There's no discount. It's $49. So now we're going to tell you how you can get this book.
You can get this book on my website at Common Minds, www.commonmindsllc, or you can go to my link tree at Dr. Josephine Harris as well, or you can go on my social media page. It's Instagram. You can get it from there.
Okay.
Yes. Or you can email me as well.
Right. See, so you have so many ways of being able to get it. Carmen, www. Carmen Minds. That's CALMINGMINDS.
Yes.
CarmenMinds.com. Her link tree, Dr. Josephine Harris. Go to her Instagram. Is Instagram the same?
Yes, ma'am.
See, you have to learn to be consistent. I wrote something down before we got on that I'm going to close us out with. I was listening to a program about consistency and being consistent in what we do. And one of the things that I took away from there is that we could consistently be consistent by doing nothing. We could consistently be consistent by consistently doing nothing. So we are no longer going to consistently do nothing when it comes to our mental health, when it comes to us getting ourselves better. Dr. Joe just sat here and told you she's an overcomer. She told you she had anxiety, but she has now overcome it. So now she is giving back. And so we want to stop being consistently consistent in doing nothing. So we are going to become consistent in some things that we do. And one of the first things is we're going to get her book, her workbook, and we're going to work it. And we're going to wait until she comes with the class and we understand the fullness of putting both of them together. Because if we are going to move forward in our lives, in our businesses, in our churches, in our health, and in who we are, we have to start being consistent using the information that is given to us. So tonight, I want you to hold that book up one last time.
Yes, ma'am. This is it.
Look at it. When you purchase this book, don't put it in your library and have it become just another book. Use it so that you could become a better person and you'll be able to help others. Dr. Joe, I'm going to give you the close in your way before we leave this platform tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Let me tell you, your mental health is so important. I want to leave you with this. Think positively, learn actively, play more, be yourself. Yes, smile always, love passionately, live freely, work hard. Guess what? Shine bright. Have big dreams, relax often. Guess what I do? Enjoy myself. Yes, I do.
That's right. That sounds really good, Dr. Joe. And I know you live in the beautiful state of Washington State. And so I know that that's a good area to get out in the outdoors. It rains a lot there. That's the one thing I remember about it. But I know, and that's the one thing that I want to leave you with. You can deal with some of your stress and some of your anxiety by getting out into the fresh air.
Yep.
Getting out from that place. Don't stay stuck all day. You know what I did earlier today? I actually put my alarm clock and I took a 1 hour nap because I knew I was tired from last night. Usually I just press and push my way through and then I get all, no, my alarm said it's 2 o'clock. You can lay down from 2 to 3. You don't have a client. And I did it. And I refreshed myself. We have to choose ways of overcoming certain things in our life. Dr. Joe, thank you so much for being my guest today on Around the Table and sharing your awesome workbook with us. I cannot wait until you do your course. I am telling each and every one of you right now, go to her Facebook page or social media. Go to Instagram. If you don't know who she is, get to know her. You may not need her for yourself right now, but later on, you may, or maybe you may know someone who does. So, Dr. Joe, thank you so much once again for coming on Around the Table. So until next time, when your course is out, I'm going to say good night to you and ta-ta until next time. God bless.
God bless.